Hello, welcome to more Haskell live coding. Last week I started building a sort of a CLI or command line client to talk to the servant app that I'd written. And I guess I spent a lot of time with optparse-applicative, so we could just parse the subcommands. And then we also got like a basic couple of endpoints working, so I could get an environment and maybe list environments as well. So it works and that's great, but it was a bit shonky. It's a very basic client. It doesn't handle errors very well, and I think the code is a little bit procedural. Really, I'm just saying, get this thing out of the environment, then make this call, and print the output. It wasn't very well structured. So the plan for tonight is to just improve that basically, so to try and do some error handling to print out the results a bit better. And to add some more endpoints so that we can create new environments and so we can create bookings against environments as well. So that's the plan. Let's pick up where we were last week. These are the two functions I use to list out all of the environments or to get a single environment. Right, so they're both very similar. We get the endpoint that we're going to call. This comes from ultimately comes from the servant client. I think, do we set this up in main somewhere? Yeah. So we destructure servant client and we get back the two endpoints we're interested in. And then we just put them into the environment that gets passed into each of these actions. So we can ask the environment for the endpoint for listing or the endpoint for getting. Client ev always gets passed around, and then we run client m with the particular endpoint that we're interested in, and then we just print the result out. Now I think I've started Docker, so I should have a database, but I don't think I've started a server yet. So I should be able to say stack run bookie server. Can we name it to? Yep, that's running. And then I should be able to say stack run bookie client, bookie CLI, sorry, and then get back. Actually, I can't remember what the commands were. Tell me in a second. It does not tell me. What are the commands? Oh, that's the help for stack. Okay, so the commands are list and get. I could say list. Yeah, and you get this rubbish. I'm not pretty printing anything to do with the output, which we should probably do. And if I get a single environment back, so get one, again, I'm not pretty printing anything. And I saw 4 in the history there, so I get 4, which doesn't exist. You get this, so you get left and then failure response, and then some stuff in there. So maybe the first thing I'll do is look at pretty printing some of this. Yeah, let's do that. So let's pretty print get first because that's easier. So what I might do is say case result of, so we've got left and then some kind of error, and I don't know what to do with that yet. Undefined, but right is going to be a single environment, and I'm going to say print env and then just pass in the env. Okay, so print env is going to take an environment with status, apparently, according to this. Yeah. An environment with status. And it's going to run, it's going to run under IO and not return anything. Wow, going to run under IO and not return anything. Okay. So print end of some environment is, we got an environment status. Because I could, in theory, destructure this. And let's bring this back up again to receive an output. So we got env ID, env name, and env status. So env ID, env name, and env status. I'll need name field ones, I haven't got them. So what should we do with this? We could just print out something a bit let's drill in. I'll do this in a clunky way and then we'll look at using a formatter in a second. So I can take that and then I can add the ID onto that. So I say show env ID and I'll close the bracket and I'll add on a space maybe and then the env name. I'll stick in a colon and then I'll put the status on the end. Okay. So let's, env status is not imported, but other things are, apparently. Okay. That's what I need to add name field puns. Need to put a dollar in there, and then we can get rid of that. Okay, and then to do this, we say lift IO. Env status, I guess we need to show as well. Okay, so that output should be a little bit better, I think. So if we ask it for something that exists, slightly better, right? It's got the ID, it's got the name, and then it says it's available. Slightly easier to read. If I rerun it, get rid of the compilation message, it should be clear as what it looks like. Okay, so for listing, I could just use the same output if it's right. Actually, let's do show error first, actually. And we'll see what we can do with this. So print error is going to take something. I'm not quite sure what this is yet. I'll come back to it in a second. And it's going to run under IO. Let's do print A. Oops. Print it a second. I need to lift IO that as well. So maybe we can just move that out. Okay. Let's show A. We don't know what A is. I might just get this wrong for a second, so I get the type error above. So it tells me what it's passing in. So it's a servant, lots of namespacing, but then eventually client error. That list, what's inside client error? Choose from the candidate above 1 or 2. Which is 1 and which is 2? Let's try 2. I don't know what I've loaded here. Loaded server. Okay. I didn't actually want either of these. Client error is coming from servant.client. Lost my place now. There. Okay, import servant.client and show me everything you know about client error. Client error is failure response, some kind of request def with nothing in it, and then oh, this is really hard. Oh, I see. Oh, there are multiple constructors here. Okay, so it could be failure response, it could be connection error, invalid content type, header, unsupported content type, decode failure. So I'm guessing it's going to be failure response. This line wrapping is confusing me, but it looks like it is what's inside this? This request F. I don't really understand what that is. But we can start this a little bit. So we can say failure response. Just run it in the brackets up here. So failure response has got one. It says one long type ending in a pair. I don't really know how to read that. Okay, not sure about that. Okay, but also print error of any other error and just print it out. So we can pull in failure response for a second. They did not have different number of arguments. I've just done this badly. This is the error I wanted. You have 2 arguments, but it's been given 1. Okay. So the second argument is the response itself. So this is actually the request. I guess that's what I'm reading. Okay, so and the response itself looks complicated. Type response is response F and then a byte string. It feels like I'm missing the response code. Oh, okay. So I should be able to get a response thing back with the status code and headers and body. So can I deconstruct that a little bit? And it's got, whoops, scroll up a bit. Response status code. load into scope. Everything from there in the bracket. Right. Now, let's just print out the status code. See what we've got, because I think we've got a 404 here. When it is a 404, obviously. So I just make sure it compiles, actually, this still works. Yep, if I get 4, it doesn't exist. Right, the status code I could further deconstruct. So I can get the status message out of that. What I might do is I'll just do something like put strlen of some generic as error message, like something went wrong. That's error message. Oh, error message of this. Right. Or error message of this nonsense. Is equal to, and then we'll actually deconstruct this a bit more. So I think I can say this. I will just return status message at that point. I cannot do that. Okay, it doesn't know what I mean here. It's also getting a bit long, so let's split it up anyway. Let's say response message, maybe status message of response status code. Okay, and error oops, of anything else, we'll just show it. Okay, so status message error, some status message. But here I should be able to deconstruct this, right? So I can say status, oops, status of, and then status code, which we don't really care about. So we just grab status message, I think. Don't replace it with state T. Nothing, so we're going to import server.client. And if I looked at the type of response F, I think it was. So it's HTTP types status. Types.status. Nope. Did I miss something? Oh, network. Okay. Set minus package HTTP types. Okay, now we can ask for type of status. Okay, cool. So status has got an int, which is the code, and then a byte string, which is the message, I guess. Easier way of reading it. Yeah. Okay. So, what was the package I needed? HTTP types. Haskell. So in the CLI, we'll do that. And then here I should be able to do that. Cool. Okay. So should be able to print out something went wrong, and then it should say not found or whatever the message was. Something wrong, not found. Okay. Good, I think. We could probably put more stuff like request, but let's just yeah, let's leave it like that for now. Okay, so we got a way of printing the error and a way of printing out a single environment. So if we run list, we have a result which is a list of environment with statuses, I think. So we should be able to say something like, oops, mapm lowercase map underscore, because we don't want the result, underscore, and the type of mapm should be a function in the list. Is that right? Multiple, so function, then the list, and then you get everything under IO. I'm just wondering how I get everything under IO, but let's, sorry, the basics of this are mapm, printenv, result. So lift IO of that. Okay. Yes. I need to do this thing. So right is going to be, oops, mapm, printenv, result of m's. Something like that. Okay. So now if we call list, it'll recompile, but we should get a slightly prettier list of stuff. Cool. Okay. Could obviously use better formatting here, but it's better for now. So So we got a little bit of error handling and a little bit of printing out some of the results. How terrible is the code? So it's a bit annoying that this is almost but not quite the same. This is the same everywhere. This is almost but not quite the same. The only difference is this thing. And then these are almost the same apart from this bit. Okay. So could we have some kind of generalized runner? I call it run request or something. And what's it going to take? It's going to have this kind of signature. But it's going to need some more stuff. So I just noticed something that annoys me. I'll come back to a second. This, oh, didn't mean to that. I'm going to go to the end of the line, not the end of the file. This printm doesn't need to do really pay thing, but it annoyed me in passing. Right. Okay, so let's grab one of these and then swap out the bits that are not generic. So the endpoint is not generic, but we'll pass that in. I'm not quite sure what the type of this is going to be yet. Come back to this in a second. Okay, we can't call endpoint m by d. But we can pass in something here. And then we need another argument. Which is the printer. Which we can do something like that. Okay. So the type of the endpoint is client M environment with status. Is that right? So we're in here. Yeah, it's client M. It's not, sorry. The type of this endpoint is something, client M something. That's annoying. So the first argument of run client M is client env. Is that right? Okay. Nope. Run client M is saying for all A, which is client MA. Oh, client M's second argument, sorry. So this should be client MA. Right. And then the pretty printer is going to be some kind of B. Oh no, it's the same A, isn't it? I think. And is It's going to be that, I think, because the A that we're passing in here is client MA is what gets returned on the right here. So the either is going to be the left of the client error and the right will be that A. So we need something that takes that A and prints it out. Okay. So that's our endpoint. Tiny thing, not that tiny, but if I swap these arguments around, so we'll take the pretty printer first, and then we will take the client or the endpoint. What I'm thinking is, we could tie it up in seconds. We can then call run request, passing in just printenv, and the endpoint. The endpoint m by d. Okay, and this one's even simpler. Almost. The pretty printer is more complicated. So this would be run request partially applied thing. So map in with printenv. I lose focus there. And then just the endpoint. Okay, which means that in theory, I could do this. Don't know why I can't do that. I thought I'd be able to get this and pass it in. So the type asks of list environments. Oh, I can't. I just put the syntax form and passing it the other way. Okay. So get the endpoint out by saying ask list environment, and we just pass it straight into here. But for get, it's more complicated because I need to partially apply it to the m by d. Okay, so I'll leave the do in place for that. So these are shorter. I only have one copy of this stuff. Do I need CL? Yeah, I do, so I can call asks here. Okay, there's quite a lot of lift IO, but maybe that's okay. Just make sure it still works. Yeah, and I can also say get, well, I'll check the error handling. Yeah, and get one. Okay. I think that's good enough for now. So in theory, I could add another endpoint. So we could say create. Okay, so my commands up here, I need to fill this out a bit. So when we create something, the only thing we're passing in is the name, I think. Yeah, the name's the only thing. Oh, did I mean to have ask instead of ask the other way around? Sorry, I missed that. Let me go and see. Was that all that was wrong with writing it the other way? Asks list environments. Yes, you're correct. I was saying ask rather than asks. Cool. Right, so my other command is create command. And it's going to take a string. So create command argument. It's not auto here, it's going to be string. Oh, there's some name for this. No, that's the wrong thing. That. It needs to be options applicative, optparse-applicative. So it was like opt or something. Really annoying. The metavar for this will be the name. I'll come back to the type of it in a second. I'll just pop all of it back in so it shuts up for a second. And it's not get a single environment, it's create a new environment. We can say run options, create command, name, and name, run create, and name. Finally, this is write run create. So that's going to be mono string to CLIMM. So run create, this terrible name, CLIMM of end name is, so the endpoint is asks create environment, and then we can say run request. I don't know if the name comes back or not, I can't remember, we'll find out. Endpoint name. Okay, so create environment. Goes from a string to a client m. With status, I hope that's correct. And then in theory, I can fill in create environment here and then try and assign it. Okay, I'll tell you what the type's wrong. So the type of this is maybe environment with status. Right. Oh, it's environment, new environment. Oh, that's Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so typed here checkout, but it won't check out above now. Right, so it's not end name, it's new environment. And what's inside new environment? Not telling me. I think it's something like name equals, but it might be long. It might be new environment name. So in theory, I can just do env name, probably. Right. However, we can't do that, so we can say printf of from maybe the empty string. No, the empty string is no good to us. Okay, maybe, what's the type of maybe? Right, it takes a B, which is our default case, and it takes A to B, and then maybe A. So our A to B in this case is the printf, and our B case has to be this type. So maybe put string nothing. I've messed up my arguments here, so no, I haven't. Maybe put string nothing. Or printf. So that's the first argument. That's my, that should be the whole function itself, right? And then the endpoint is this thing. Maybe put maybe print env is maybe put string nothing to show. Print env. I'll go and fix my tab in a second. Put string that. Now I can say maybe print env. Okay. So apart from this string thing, or maybe auto does enough, like maybe auto will work out it has to be a string. Yeah, that's probably enough, isn't it? Auto should work that out using magic. So let's check it compiles, I guess. Okay, I'll just list and see what we have here. Staging dev and wibble. So can I then say create production? No. Okay, so maybe auto is not what I wanted. Right. The argument takes read MA and then mod argument fails A. So we some kind of string reading thing. Let's see if it works out. From the REPL. So it was, where's this come from? Options applicative builder. Yeah, okay, cool. So I should be able to ask for readm. String with a capital S. Okay, I think I was typing string with a small s. That's where I went wrong. No. Yes. No. No. None of these things. What? Oh, maybe it's saying it returns a string. Str argument, maybe? Str option. Just guessing at things that look a bit like string. No. I guess str argument would make more sense because it's an argument. It still does not work. To use it here instead of calling argument. Yes, I do apparently, or at least that looks like it would compile. Okay, so str option I pulled in I don't need. Okay. I'll try it again. I'll try and create production. Let's see, it worked. So I go and call list. I can now print out my new environment. That's pretty cool. Okay. So I guess it would be good to print out or to be able to manipulate bookings as well. Although maybe I'm going to hit problems, right? Because I've got list and get, but I haven't told it it's I haven't told it it's about environments, not about bookings. So I wonder if I can sort of move my two levels of command line arguments here. So you could say Slack on Bookie CLI environment list or something like that. how would this work? Options in subparser. So there's like multiple subparsers, I guess. So we could have something like parse environment commands. I think we'll be of type parser options. And then parse environment commands. And can you just say subparser? With actual type, a lot of stuff. Yeah, we're not returning options. Of course, we're returning command. Okay, and then we can say options applied to subparser, not subparser, parse environment commands. Let me get rid of this. Okay. The reason for doing that is I want to do nested subparsers, I think. So how does that work? Can we say, because I have it underneath. Can we say command environment? Just type N because it's shorter. No, it won't. That environment, and then it needs something. So can I then say parse environment commands? I cannot. What types it want? So info takes a parser of A and an info mod. Okay, so is it info and then the parser and then something like prog desk, oops, of managed environments. Okay, let's formulate that. Let's see if that works. So in theory, now I'll have to say environment list, environment get. That's what I'm aiming for. The list should not work. But actually, if I say management help, it should tell me that I need to use environment. Yep. Environment help. Okay, not super useful. Environment list. That does work. Okay, cool. Environment get one. Okay. So in theory, I could then join it to command how is this going to work? Because we need to specify the environment ID and then the bookings. But we could say command bookings info or booking commands manage bookings for an environment. Grab all of that. Oh, damn it. Okay. And we will just say list for now, I guess. So then we list command, it's going to be list bookings for an environment. Okay, it's not going to be pure either. It's going to be info list booking command. I'm going to write that in a second. And it takes an argument, which is going to be the env ID. Too many infos here. Okay. List booking command. I'm taking int 64. Okay, and now I can say run. I should have just copied the line above, but anyway. List booking command, and then env ID. Run list bookings. Okay. Run list bookings. We get inside there. So it's going to take an int 64. And run everything under this funny monad. Run list bookings with an ID is do, and then the endpoint is going to be asks, and it's going to be list bookings. And then we should be able to say run request. I'm just going to give it a print because I don't know how to print this out yet. And it's going to be endpoint env ID, I hope. Env ID. Okay, so list bookings doesn't exist yet. I'll need to go and add that into here. And it should go int 64 to client and list of bookings. Can I pull in the scope? Yep. Okay, and then here, hopefully it's the next argument. So I can say list booking. And then list bookings. Okay, cool, we got a type error here. So the type of list bookings is entity booking. Interesting. Doesn't know where to find entity. So I thought they gave them servant, but maybe it doesn't. Let me just go and look at booking for a second. It's not in booking itself, is it? Oops. It's in DB. So entity comes from, oh, database.persist. Okay. I think that's where it comes from, which is just persistent. Trying that entity is a bit, like, it was quick to write, but it's not a great type. So maybe at some point I could try and get rid of that. Okay. So can it now put an entity? Yes. Okay. So we can't show booking. So we can't show entity booking. Okay, not to use show booking or use a print. That's all I could. Doesn't help, does it? No, if it can't, I don't need to map it over. Booking here. Is built here, so it should have a show instance. But maybe entity doesn't. Print booking. Okay. Expect a type entity booking to IO. Actual type entity booking to A to M0. So what I think this is, oh, I want to take a single entity booking and run it under IO. Okay. So here we can put the mapping in place. Okay, and then print B. Right, so we can't deduce show booking. So this will be entity, it's something like key, and then the booking itself. And inside booking, we have some fields. Let's only grab duration. Okay, so let's import a constructor for that. Let's import this. Oh, I thought that was in booking. Do we export everything? Yes, we do. I'm going to get the MID of that. Can I get anything from here? Okay, again there, the constructor booking does not reveal MID. Of course it doesn't. It doesn't have duration either. It's booking duration. Right. Okay, so in theory, if we had a booking, it would print it out. I don't think we have a booking thing. We can find out. Okay, if this works, then I can say booking list 1 or something like that. Did I mean bookings? I did. Oh, we do have some bookings. Always created one have them. Okay, cool. Right, not super helpful. You know, we're going to print out the start time and some other stuff. Can I just grab that actually? Booking start time. Not called that. Perhaps I meant booking start. Oh, booking, not book. I'll just print that out. Amazing. Do we have booking end time? We do. Okay. So you say put strlen, and then something like booked from and then we'll do booking start time. I need to show that until booking end time. Okay, try it again. Okay, cool-ish. Right, I'm going to stop there because we're running over a little bit, but we got a whole bunch more commands and we have a little bit of error printing. And I'm happier now that run request is at least moved to one place, so it's not leaking everywhere. This booking printing I need to move out and make a bit better, but it's a start. And then we can add extra endpoints for creating bookings as well. And maybe like indicated in the past and stuff like that. Cool, but it's going okay. Some of the code is a bit horrible, like all this stuff is not nice, but generally speaking, it's coming together. It's coming quicker than I expected. Cool. All right then. So yeah, thanks for watching along. And next week we'll come back and finish off the endpoints for bookings, and then maybe look at deletion as well. But we'll at least finish off the endpoint for bookings. Cool. All right. Hopefully see you next week. Goodbye.